And I was so happy. I found where my people come from, my forefathers. And I'm happy I came here. Because when I came here and I looked at the things that happened to us, my heart, I feel at peace. Not total peace because of what life has shown me, but I'm at peace the fact that I'm back where my forefathers came from. That's a peace.
Wow.
And that's a beautiful peace. And like I said, I don't have to look for nobody trying to kill me. If they're trying to kill me, they're trying to kill me for money. They're not just trying to kill me because they don't like me. And our brothers and sisters and we over here, we need to come together. We need to work together. And we need to make some changes. And Africa needs to make some changes. But leaders are rising up all over this continent because it's time for us to rise up.
Can you just introduce yourself to us, who you are, why you came to Africa, and how long have you been in Africa?
Well, I prefer to be called Nick Yasha. And why did I come to Africa? Well, it's going to start this way, my friend. I had many things said to me in my life. And as I shared in one interview that I had with a sister, back in I think it was 87, the beginning of 87, I was traveling down through Harlem, New York, one evening. And a car pulled up next to me and asked me to roll my windows down. And normally in Harlem, you don't do that. I rolled my window down. And when I rolled my window down, the brother looked at me and said, "Brother, have you ever been to Africa?" I said, "No." He said, "Brother, it's all over you." And 6 or 7 months later, I was in Ghana.
Wow.
And I came with a group to support another brother who came back home to be a chief in Cape Coast. So I ended up here. And the brothers and sisters who I came with, we loved it. And so we start coming back. So I've been coming here since 1987. And then something happened. I heard a voice. And that voice said to me, "Get out of America. Go to Ghana." And that's where I end up. I end up coming back here. Now, a lot of people ain't gonna believe it. A lot of people had negative things to say. But see, the spirit is different. You can't explain that spirituality to some people because they don't understand it, because they're not there. And even those who think they're there, sometimes they don't even get it. So I end up coming back here. Came back here and built me a home. Me and my wife. And I've been here for 18 years. And I love it. But it's not easy. It's not easy. And when I say it's not easy, because there's challenges. It's a lot of challenge. But one of my spiritual teachers used to tell us that the other half of life that we need to know is on the other side, on the continent. And I'm finding that out more and more. Going back to our roots. See, a lot of brothers and sisters back in the States, some of them say in a minute, "I'm not African," but yes, you are. If you got black melanated skin like I do, you're an African. Your ancestors came from over here.
Yeah.
They say most of us came from off this west coast of Guinea to America, to the islands of Jamaica, Trinidad, all those different places. We're Africans. And I did the studies and the things that I've been taught, and I'm still being taught. We are the first and original people. And that's why the world hates us. And I say that, and then I don't have no fear of contradiction about it. We are not loved, and we've been treated badly because of certain things that we did. So I'm home.
Wow.
I feel comfortable. I don't hear no shooting. I don't hear no fire engines. I don't hear nothing a lot about killing. And the little bit that's going on is not there. I find Ghana very peaceful. I find the people peaceful and loving. Only thing I find out is too much greed for money. And I'm looking at the things that is happening to us as a people. And as I say, and as I learned, my people die for lack of knowledge. And I find that here on the continent. Basically, and I say that because, and it hurts to say it. And it's not just those here on the continent, it's those that all over the world. When I sat down and learned and things happened to me in my life, the spiritual things that started manifesting itself, and the things that I started to study, and some people argue with me about it. I found that basically we were punished as a people because we were disrespectful to our God. Disrespectful to our God. And he punished us. I really don't believe in my heart that no white man, European man, nobody on the face of the earth can take Africans and bind us up the way we've been bound up as a people. Nobody. No matter what they do to us, I don't believe it can be done. And as I said to you earlier, no matter what anybody says and do, we get back up and rise. We shine in every aspect of life. And to my young brothers and sisters, basically, you can accomplish anything we want to accomplish if we just decide to go forward. And everybody in the universe knows that but us. This continent, the richest continent on the face of the earth, that can feed the whole world, got all the resources and everything else. If I'm as a father and a man, would not give that to the weakest person in my children. I wouldn't do it. So why would our Creator give us the best of everything if we were weak and if we was not the strongest in the firstborn? I can't find that. I can't do that. And if I was made in the image and likeness of our God, there's no way he would do that. Because I won't do it. You won't do it. No man will give the best to the weakest child. He'd give it to his strongest child, the meekest child. Even though he's meek, don't mean he's not a warrior. We're the first ones on this universe. So why would we think we get the best of everything if we're inferior to everybody else in the world? We were punished, my brother. Punished hard. But we're coming out of that punishment. And the world knows it. You got people talking about we must stop the growth rate population in the world. Why would they talk about that? And then they say, let's go to Africa and start it there. China got more people than we do, but we don't see that. We don't see it. And I don't understand it. I truly don't understand that. But I know why. You want to take what we have on this continent, and you're using the people to take it. And who are you using to take it? You're using those that are being educated in your system. You're using those that are puppets in the system. And the educated ones on this continent are manipulating those who are not educated on this continent. With a few pennies, few CDs, vote for me, and I'll set you free. Wow. Set you free from what? You put me in more poverty. If we're the richest continent on the face of the earth, why are we the poorest people on the face of the earth? Not only in Africa, not only in Ghana, worldwide. Why? Why? Why are those who got melanin and dark skin like me and you, why are we at the bottom of the totem pole around the world? You tell me.
Do you really think education, maybe too much education, is also the downfall of Africa?
It depends on who educating you. If you're being educated, okay, in a system that is to destroy you, yes. But if you're being educated, okay, to uplift your people and yourself, no.
Wow.
But majority of us are being educated in a system that is not our system. And it's not being educated in our way. As my son said to me yesterday, in which is I know already, you're being educated not only in a system that's not yours, but you're not being educated in your own language. You're being educated in somebody else's language. How is it that this is Ghana, but the language of the country is supposed to be English? I don't hear China say that. I don't hear the Russians say that. I don't hear the Israelis say that. I don't hear nobody else says that as far as education goes.
Yeah, what comes into your mind when you are talking about language barrier over here? Ghanaians have a whole lot of tribes and so forth in Ghana. So we have the Ewes, the Fantis, the Trees, the Ashantis, and the Gans and so forth. So with that, do you really think it will be possible for people to have a common language?
But let me ask you a question. All of those different groups that you just said, right? They can't communicate with each other though, don't they? They do communicate.
Yeah, they do.
They do communicate.
Yeah.
And it was no problem.
Yeah.
So, if there was no problem them communicating, then it's not a problem. Okay? They still, in America, brothers in the Northeast, brothers in the Southeast, the brothers in the Midwest, brothers and sisters on the West Coast, we all speak English. But you know what? The dialect is different. Sometimes I can't understand some of the things the brother in the South says on the East Coast. But we can communicate. Still, Ghana, pick English. Why English? So that your enemy can understand what you're saying? So you can't talk behind his back? If you go to Russia, they speak their own language. And not everybody in Russia's speaking all Russian the same, or do they?
No.
No.
Yeah.
But they can communicate.
Yeah.
So I look at that, okay, fine. You all can speak it. But let's look at something else. The Berlin Conference. When all the European nations came together at one accord, what did they do? They took Africa and carved them up. 54 different states on the continent. They carved them up, took pieces of them. Families were split. You tell me, Togolese, they're the same as Airways, but their families are split up. Now somebody's speaking French.
Someone speaking
different languages.
Yeah.
Why? Stop them from coming together as a strong group. Divide them up. But it's still happening. So the language, we communicate.
You know, you made mention of you came to Africa for the first time in 1987.
Yes.
Right? So maybe almost 30 years or maybe more than 30 years. And you said you had a whole lot of challenges and so forth. So what are the challenges that you really face, or maybe what are some of the challenges that you really had?
Here?
Yeah.
Well, see, when I say challenges, communication barrier is really it's a challenge. The difference in the financing. So one thing I find here, that the people think, those of us that comes out of America, we have all this money. And it's not a true statement. I worked hard for what I got in life, just like anybody else does.
Yeah.
And when I come here and somebody's trying to always want to try to beat me out of my money, that's a problem. The prices are higher. If I go somewhere and you go somewhere, you pay local fee, I'm gonna pay, as they call, a Bruni fee. And they call me a Bruni, as dark as I am. And I pay a Bruni fee. Why? Because you think I get all this money? I ain't got all this money. Yes, I come out of America. I made more money than you make. But that's the economy. But I paid much more over there for what I had to do than what you did over here. That's a challenge. If I get a contractor, he wants to charge me more, all right? If I say do something a certain way, he won't do it the way I asked him. He want to try to do it his way. Then I have to say to him, who's paying you? Am I paying you to do a job for me? Or are you paying me to do the job? That's a challenge. To get in a taxi is a challenge. Now, the police don't bother diasporas like they used to. Okay, always looking for us to give them money. That's a bother. And that there becomes a situation. But it's a lack of understanding on both sides of the fence. I will say it that way. And we need to come together. Based upon the European concept of those of us who comes out of America, African Americans, they're killers. They're gangsters. I'm not no gangster. And people think I'm a gangster. People think because brothers dress a certain way that they're gangsters. They're robbers. No, we're not. Those who, when we come over here, they don't know who we are.
Yeah.
We're coming back home to family. Those that they took out of here, they wasn't slaves. They were turned into slaves when they got to America. I had a young man that called my wife a slave here in Ghana, right here in Elmina. I had another friend who told me same thing was said to him. Oh, you slave. You know what I said to the young man?
No.
My friend, let me ask you a question. Who's a slave? I can travel anywhere in the world. You can't even get out of your own country. So who's a slave? I had to say that just to let him understand, what are you talking about? Those who left here were turned into slaves in America, all right, in other parts of the world. But what happened? We changed that concept. As I said before, we fought. My ancestors and fathers fought to come out of that horrible, the worst atrocity that's put on anybody. They fought to come out of that. Now you got brothers and sisters who basically, when you come to education, financial, stand at the same level Europeans do. Coming from the bottom up. We never had an equal opportunity over there in America. We was always starting from the bottom to rise up. So, in the challenges, there's different challenges. It's just challenge of language.
You know, a whole lot of people are painting Africa to be a negative place. People are also saying Africa is like a bush. People sleeps in the trees and so forth. As that you are in Africa for a very long time, have you ever experienced all this kind of negative things that they normally say through the internet or maybe on the internet?
That's the propaganda of the white man. No, I have not. I had that questions asked me before I left too. Where you gonna sleep? What you gonna eat? Because the propaganda of the European man fixed it that way. The propaganda that they put out there is Africa is all negative. And a lot of our people buy into it. And that's the world propaganda. Because they know, and I'm going to share this with you. President Jimmy Carter had one of his men to do a study that says what they call the King Alfred Plan. Did you ever hear it?
Not really.
The King Alfred Plan was, do not let the African Americans and the Africans ever come together again. So the propaganda is we have to always feed the negativity to the world about Africa, the dark continent, so that the people don't come back together. Why did they do that study? Why did he do that study? Don't let them come together again. Why? Because when they come together, they're going to unite. And when they unite, they're going to stand up as a force. Okay, they're going to stand up as a force. And that's what's happening today. Brothers and sisters need to come back home. Everybody else goes home. My brothers and my sisters, those of you in America, you don't have no place to go to call home. You're not wanted in America. You're not wanted anywhere around the world to a certain extent. You don't have a home of your own. Your home is in Africa. Come and find out. Come and feel the vibration. Come and feel the peace and the energy, the warmth coming back at home. But everybody's going to put that out because they don't want us to come back. Not only they don't want us to come back because basically we're going to bring resources back into the country. We're going to help build. Brothers and sisters that come here, we don't take nothing and go back. Every other nationality that comes to the continent, they come and take. African Americans, Caribbeans, brothers and sisters from the UK, they don't take nothing back. They come and build. They come with the little resources they have. They don't have the wealth of all these Europeans because the Europeans, though, basically got wealthy off our backs.
You know, you made mention of bringing resources to the country to solve our own continent's problems and so forth. But I've realized that in America, or maybe in Europe, if you are bringing something from Europe to Africa, people find it very difficult to bring certain things in order to improve Africa, or maybe to develop Africa. So in such case, what do we do, or maybe what should the African Americans also do to stop this kind of or like this kind of attitude that these Europeans and these Americans have been doing?
Well, one thing we have to do is just come together, and we need to communicate with each other, get a better understanding of what's really happening. And some of the things that some of us is doing, we could be coming, sitting down and talking with each other to understand each other and to help build the health system. The big problem. Help building the health system, bring in different technology. Brothers and sisters here on the continent are very intelligent, but they lack resources. And those of us that are coming, we have a little bit of them. And we need to come together and pool and work together. But we're not doing it as a whole. I hope I'm answering your question on that. We need to come together and work together. We need to sit down instead of coming together and then trying to cheat each other. Because there's too much going on too. And it's not only happening to diasporas, it's being done by you all doing it to each other. I heard a story, all right, that a brother who was in the States was sending money back home here to his brother to build him a house. But the brother didn't build the house. The brother was showing him the progress of somebody else's house.
Wow.
So it's just happening. And what is doing that? Money. What's doing it? Money. We have to learn that basically, if you get all the resources here under this universe, under the ground here, then we have to get that resources and start using the resources. So basically, you're not being used as a puppet or as a servant to other people. The CD, right, the CD does not equal up to the dollar. But that's to always keep the people of poor and poverty and always begging. And those of us who are coming, we're coming with money. Let me give you an instance.
Okay.
I want you to think about something. Some people said there's over 5,000 or more diasporas on the continent. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? If there is 5,000 diasporas on right here in Ghana, and I'm going to say if you got $2,000 for those 5,000 people, okay, that money that's coming in, 5,000 times 2,000 is what?
It's 10,000.
10,000? No, it's not 10,000.
100,000. It's 100,000.
100,000. If 100,000 is coming into Ghana a month, and then by a year, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
What's happening with the infrastructure? The infrastructure is coming in, that money is coming in to help build this country. And I just used 2,000. Okay? And that's not a lot of money, okay, but I used that figure.
Yeah.
So that's bringing money into the country. That's money that was not here. Why can't we help build it? Why can't that money being utilized to build? When I first came here, I looked at something. I had 17 workers helping me to build a home. And I said, hey, 17. And I said, each of those 17, if each of those guys got a wife and children, I'm feeding a lot of people.
Yeah.
And these people are being fed off of me. Not being fed off the government. So I'm supporting the system.
That is it.
Now, I built my home. But now, okay, I don't have 17 working for me. But if you got one or two people that you got doing something, if people got businesses, like my friend got his business here,
Yeah.
all right, he's supporting people. The government is not supporting them. He's supporting them. So we're helping. We're helping. But why we can't get some of that money's coming in. It's not going out. We're pulling in to help build. But then why are we all suffering? We're suffering. The people are suffering because money is not being utilized. Right now, every time I look around, what's happening? We're being taxed all over again. More money. People are being asked to spend more money. All the materials going up. Everything is going up in Ghana. But I don't hear the people saying, I got a raise. The people are suffering. Why? There's a problem. Something's wrong. Somebody's not doing the right job.
So maybe in such case that you could see that things are increasing in the country and you are also in the country. For now, at least you've been in this country for more than 30 years. What is the solution? Or what are the solutions that you think it will also help the country to grow economically, or maybe in a different way for us to have a good living?
Well, I think one of the things is we need to stop letting outsiders come in and take all the resources out. We need to stop that. We also, I think that they need to stop taking all these billion-dollar loans from the IMF and the World Bank. That's my feeling. They need to stop that. They need to basically do a better educational system for our children. All right? And if we start letting everybody take all our resources out, and we start building more jobs. You said to me as a college student,
Yeah.
it was hard for you to find a job.
Of course.
With all that's need to be done in this country, why is it hard for you to find a job? Ghana does not manufacture a lot of stuff that goes out. All Ghana do is take everything in and pay and buy. We got all these resources. Why are we doing that? There needs to be something, an avenue that basically we need to start selling and manufacturing. You got the brother who built the Tonka car. He's not being supported in his car dealing. But we got other cars that's coming in here. You're charging a lot of money to bring cars into this country. Duty. Big money for duty. Where's all that money going? And why is people, if you're not manufacturing cars, why is the duty so high? We need jobs for our young people. We need to get our young people great education. Let's look at our educational system here. The private schools are all European schools. They're not African schools. That's a problem. And basically, what we're talking about, a lot of people ain't gonna like it. But the truth is the light. And we have to talk and we be truthful with one another. We have to lift our children up. Why are we losing our children on the sea trying to get it other countries? if we have all the resources, we need to take a look, step back and take a look. And those that are in the position of leadership need to take another thought and change the focus of what's being done.
Oh.
They need to step back. We need to step back as a people. I have a brother that said to me before I came here to live, he looked at me and he said, bruh, it's about the people. I said, huh? He said, it's about the people. I said, you're right. It's about the people. It's not about leaders. It's about the people. The leaders need to take another stand and look at things the way it's going and correct some of our problems. I looked on my platform this morning and it said that the chieftaincies, who are the custodians of this land, need to step up.
Yeah.
The chieftaincies are the custodians of this land. But who's running this country?
The president.
So basically, chieftaincies need to step up for the people. If the chieftaincies are the chieftaincies over the people and the custodians of the land, then they need to step up and do for the people. I was taught that coming here. It's the chiefs. And wow, that's a deep one. Chiefs. Those chiefs. And you know, I don't like to call them chiefs. I like to call those who are in the position kings.
Yeah. Let's go.
Kings. Because they're not chiefs. They're above chiefs. Europeans took the kings out and made them chiefs and nanas. But they're the custodians.
Wow.
And I come here and I'm finding other things that's happening. Again, things have been taken out of people's hands. Education is a key to life. Manipulation is destroying us. Educated people are manipulating the uneducated.
Wow. So deep.
And as I said to you, no, people ain't gonna like what I say. But the thing is, I learned, and as a man of my age, the truth will set you free.
Yeah.
But the truth is a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
It cuts you everywhere you turn. We as a people will rise again because it's prophesied, it was predicted that we will come back into our rightful state.
Wow.
You know, you're supposed to be a preacher because at least you've said a whole lot of things. If I am supposed to rate you in my life, I would say you are a preacher because you have a whole lot and you've experienced a whole lot. So at least some of us are coming and we are learning something from you. So for me, I would say you are a preacher and also a grandpa to me. So at least I will give you a compliment about that. But I want to ask you my final two questions.
Yes, sir.
You've been in Africa for a very long time. How many African countries have you visited so far? And you've been in Ghana for a very long time. How many Ghanaian food can you also cook for yourself?
Why you put me on the spot like that? The first one,
Okay.
I have not traveled. I stayed in Ghana.
Okay.
I have people that goes outside. I'm thinking about going outside, but I have not traveled outside. When I first came to Africa on the continent, I went through Nigeria first. I spent only 3 or 4 days there waiting for my other friends to come. But I've been in Ghana only because I felt the pull of Ghana, more so than anywhere else. And as far as cooking, I'm not a person to get in the kitchen. I don't go into the kitchen. And I'm not a fufu person. I don't like fufu.
Yeah.
And so I step back. So I answered both of those questions. I'm not a cook. I'm not one to get into the kitchen like that. I'm not a cook person.
Definitely, you cannot be saying that you should wait for your wife to cook for you.
No.
Someday you have to also go to the kitchen to do something.
But no.
What are the things you normally do?
Well, if I have to go into the kitchen, I can prepare for myself.
So what's that?
Well, I will fix food for myself, but as a whole, I don't go in the kitchen. And I don't look for a wife. I have a wife that prepared for, but as a whole, I go out to eat. I do.
Wow.
But because I'm not a cook. I never got into cooking. But I know how to take care of myself.
Wow.
And I will, if I get stuck, I know what to do. But no, I'm not a kitchen person. And I've been that way all my life. I've never been a kitchen person, but I can go in there and do what I have to do to feed myself. And I can feed you too, if I have to. But I'm not a cooking person.
Wow.
And I'm praying that I can, before I leave here, that I can basically travel to other parts of the continent. I hear wonderful things about other places. But Ghana, I feel the ancestors called me back here. And I thank you for what you just said. And as I mentioned to you earlier, my daughter used to tell me, Dad, you don't talk, you preach. When I open my mouth, I start preaching. She always said that to me. And this is probably my call. But I'm not the preacher that has a congregation. I don't have a congregation. I sit down and I listen to my brother, okay, who is a Levite, who is a priest, all right, in our order. And basically, the scriptures, when they talk about the Bible, I found myself in that Bible. That Bible fits African people. It don't fit no European. That whole book is about African people. That whole book is about African people. It's not about Europeans. It's not about no European Jew who's Russian Jews. It's not about them. It's about us. But see, our people don't realize that book been tampered with and changed up to basically to fortify the slavery that was put upon us. So if I sound like a preacher, yeah, I'm a preacher. Okay? But the truth is the light. And see, when it says my people die for lack of knowledge, our people die because they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. And you said that was your only last two questions, so let me end it there. That was your last two questions. I don't cook. And no, look at this. This is paradise.
Yeah, it's paradise.
This is paradise.
It's so nice.
It's so nice to be on this ocean. But you got to remember, my ancestors that was taken out here could be your ancestors.
Yeah, sure.
And as I told a bunch of students in one of the schools here, I don't know where I come from. I have no idea where I come from. They are blessed to know where they come from. But from the studies and everything else and the DNA test I took, I'm from this continent. And mostly every man who got melon like me and woman who got melon like me is from this continent. They can stay over there and say, I don't have nothing to do with Africa all they want. But it don't mean nothing. They treat you like you don't belong there, so why you want to stay there and live with it? And I just got to look at it that way, and I got to say it. No, why? And I was so happy. I found where my people come from. My forefathers. And I'm happy I came here. Because when I came here and I looked at the things that happened to us, my heart, I feel at peace. Not total peace because of what life has shown me, but I'm at peace the fact that I'm back where my forefathers came from. That's a peace.
Wow.
And that's a beautiful peace. And like I said, I don't have to look for nobody trying to kill me. If they're trying to kill me, they're trying to kill me for money. They're not just trying to kill me because they don't like me. And our brothers and sisters and we over here, we need to come together. We need to work together. And we need to make some changes. And Africa needs to make some changes. But leaders are rising up all over this continent because it's time for us to rise up. And the stigma that has been put on us by other people is coming off of us. But it says, my people, if they hear my voice, I will hear them from afar. And that's what's happening. Because all over this world, people of African descent are rising up because they're starting to realize who they are. And we're going to make a change. I may not be the one to make the change, but I've been a pioneer along with other pioneers that are coming, that's putting our word out there and talking about who we are as a people. My great-grandchildren may be the ones. Makes no difference. We as a people shall rise again and be who we are. And our brothers and our sisters in America, Caribbean, all over this world are opening up their eyes to realize who we are. We are the cream of the crop. If we was not, why would these people, everybody else, come after us and try to keep us at the bottom? If we're inferior, why would they want to keep us at, why? If we're inferior, why they do everything to kill those who rise up to tell us who we are? If I'm inferior, why are you killing my other brothers and sisters? Nkrumah, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, okay? Latrice Lumumba. Why are they being killed for telling the truth if we're inferior? Ask yourself that question. And my brothers and sisters, ask that question. Why are they killing your leaders who stand up to tell you who you are if you're inferior to other people? It don't make sense. You don't kill a man if he's inferior to you. You don't worry about him if he's inferior. You only kill those that you realize they are a threat to you.
It's true.
But you asked the last question, so why you let me go on?
Wow.
I thank you for this. And a lot of people, some people going to send messages and dislike what I said. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. I really am not.
No, but you know, some of us, we don't care about the negative comment people will ever say because we've set our goals, our head are straight that this is what we intend to do. So whatever negative comment somebody is saying, we don't care.
I don't care. That's right.
We don't care.
Don't care.
Yes, you know, negativity always moves us forward. So whatever you do, that is our bad case.
They spoke, I'm going to use this way. They spoke negative about the man they call Yahshua, who some people call Jesus. Yeah. His name is not Jesus. They spoke negative about Nkrumah, Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad. Many enemies. Many enemies. They talked negative about them because they stood up for what they knew was right. And they're speaking negative about Nkrumah right now, right here on the continent. Those Ghanaians here speak negative about Nkrumah. But if I'm not mistaken, Nkrumah was called the man of the decade of the 20th century.
Yeah.
He's
worldwide.
He's recognized
all over the world except Ghana. Why? Because you got a few men here in Ghana that basically is trying to uphold other folks. And I'll leave it at that.
Wow.
Thank you.
If you are a diaspora, you are an African American watching this show, I will urge each and everybody to come to Africa. Africa is the key. You could see my grandpa is really happy in Africa. He's eating African food, enjoying African fresh air, and so forth. So what are you waiting for? Why do you have to stay in the States for a whole lot of time and die? Look, my advice for you is to move to Africa. Come meet me, come meet Aklevi Joe, come share your experience with us on our YouTube channel, on our show. At least, Africa is really the best. For me, I would say Africa is the key to the world. We don't need any continent to survive in Africa. And we make sure we fix our own problems, we develop Africa, we will do Africa how we want it to be, and we will make it for everybody to enjoy in Africa. So look, as you're watching me, you keep subscribing to my channel and move to Africa. Pack your bags now and come to Africa. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Hey.